The level to which he was able to refute the arguments and to present the arguments.
My brother, look, he had 10 minutes. He had more than enough time to read that little chapter of Ezekiel. I said, I dare anybody to read it to his congregation. And I tell you, I dare you, you will not read it. Reason, because it is not the word of God. If it was the word of God, you would not be ashamed of it. If God Almighty was not ashamed to reveal the details of the whoredoms of those two sisters, I am asking, why should you be ashamed? Are you holier than God?
Along with his prominence came more financial support. He was now able to open new doors. He moved the IPC to a much larger building. It soon became the IPCI, or Islamic Propagation Center International.
This is his desk. This is where Sheikh Deedat used to sit. And that on this side is his personal secretary that used to sit there and take all notes for him. And on this side, he had, if he had more than 2 or 3 people, he would make them sit here. Or if there's a protracted discussion, something more intense, then he used to make them sit here.
It was in this office that Ahmad Deedat received all types of people. Some were timid and others were fuming. Some came saying they had to deliver a personal message from God.
Let me tell you what the God of above, the one I adore and I love, Allah be his name, be praised, has asked me to come and invite you to a very special function of a mixture of Jews, Christians and Muslims. It's going to be an unusual celebration in the sense that it is a party, and we're going to have tea and cake first, and then after the tea and cake we're going to have some dancing and some singing.
But the message could sometimes turn into trauma. It must have been one of the few times in Ahmad Deedat's life when he was nearly speechless.
Because I'm tired of the fighting. I've had enough.
Here we are so near and yet so far.
I've had enough.
More especially the Jews and the Muslims.
I know,
so close.
They're brothers and they keep fighting. And I can't handle it anymore in my life because I've been torn between them wherever I go. And I told the Lord, I've had enough. Please don't do it to me anymore. I love Allah, but I love God, who's Jehovah to the Jews.
One of the most memorable visitors here was the head of a Catholic church body, Mr. Dawood Ngwane.
To what do I owe this honor of your visit?
Well, I wanted first of all to see you. You know, I was very much.
He entered the office abruptly one day after discovering one of Ahmad Deedat's publications in his home.
Look, it happened by coincidence because I was looking for a particular book in my son's bedroom. There's a pile of old books in my son's bedroom. I was looking for a book that I wanted to use, and while looking for this book, I found this little booklet, and the title attracted my attention: Crucifixion or Crucifixion. I thought, what does it mean? So that day I read the booklet 3 times. I tell you that I couldn't put the book down during my supper time. I had the book in my hand when I was eating. I couldn't put it down. I saw this man's name at the end, his address, and I thought, let me go and see this man. At first, they wouldn't let me see him, because when I came, they said, do you have an appointment? I said, no, I have no appointment. They said, no, you can't see him. I said, no, I must see him. The receptionist in front then telephoned him and he said, there's a man he insists on seeing. And he said, send him in.
You know, I was very much interested in what you wrote. I like what you wrote, and it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. I'm a Christian.
And I put the book in front of me. I said, what do you mean? What do you mean Christ was not crucified? He said, you read that book? I said, yes, I read the book. He said, didn't you find out why I say he wasn't crucified? I said, I don't believe you.
But then if Jesus said, I'm going to die and rise, even though they did not see him, then how can we say it did not happen?
So now we say, we have to find out what did he mean.
He said, you fool, you are a Zulu, I said, yes, I'm a Zulu. He said, your forefathers believed in one God, Mvelingang, and today you believe in 3 gods.
That day, Mr. Ngwane's world was turned upside down. In the following year, the words replayed in his mind as he carried on with his Christian life. But a seed had been planted, and he found himself back in Ahmed Deedat's office again and again.
Back and forth, and he would give me literature. I would read the literature and come back with questions. And I tell you, he would answer my question. I would come through that door thinking, today I'm going to get him. He would just laugh at me.
Dawood eventually realized his beliefs had changed. He resigned as head of the Family Life Committee at his church. At the age of 63, he began a new life as a Muslim. But he was never able to have another conversation with Ahmed Deedat at the IPCI.
You are telling us that the Bible...
Because on May the 3rd, 1996, Ahmed Deedat's life was changed drastically.
40 different people wrote
The vibrant, dynamic orator was violently catapulted into a body which no longer worked.
He didn't send a book down.
He suffered a stroke which left him completely paralyzed from the neck down.
And 6 years ago, he suffered a stroke which was known as a lock-in syndrome. Lock-in syndrome is that my father can hear, understand, feel everything. But it is difficult for him to communicate. Very difficult. As you see, that he is totally paralyzed, unable to move any of his features, nothing at all. He is also cannot swallow, he cannot eat, but he can smell. He can taste. If you give him ice cream, he can enjoy a taste of ice cream. But the difficulty is to swallow.
The only food which enters Ahmed Deedat's body today is a liquid nutrient called movocol. He is fed through a rubber tube which goes directly into his stomach. The stomach acids are so strong that the tube has to be changed once a month.
And the doctor that changes the tube is an 80 years old angel that changes the tube. No doctor has come here to attend to my father. She is the doctor and she is the mother.
Mrs. Deedat, with hardly any formal education, tends to her husband's needs as if she were one of the world's top physicians. She took charge shortly after Ahmed was flown to Saudi Arabia for special medical attention. She learned from the nurses in Riyadh and helped them as they did their work routine.
The first thing in the morning, I check his blood because he's also diabetic. I give him injections and I change his clothes. Then I give him the movocol so he will have food in his stomach. I also do the necessities in the kitchen.
Every day his skin undergoes oiling and jet therapy to prevent sores from developing. In 6 years, he has never acquired one bed sore. Although Ahmed can no longer speak, his family members can understand when he needs something.
Sometimes he makes his eyes roll over like this, signaling, "Clean my nose." Or I can tell when he wants the air conditioner on. I can just tell.
He can communicate with others as well by coordinating his eye movements with an alphabetical chart.
I called out the rows individually, and my father, with the blinking of the eye, watch his face. Give me a yes, Papa. That's a yes. Give me a no. That's no. If a man can tell you yes or no, and if you give him leading questions, surely he can speak.
And speak he does. He indicated the moment our camera crew arrived that he wanted to give us a message.
1, 2, 3, M, N, O, P, up. 1, 2, 3, 4, S, T, the. Full stop. He said right now at 3:30 on the 17th of September 2002, and I read, "I am happy to see my brother from Dubai."
And we, the TV crew, delivered a message in return, a message of greetings from people around the world, which prompted tears.
I just spoke to her by telephone about...
We weren't the only visitors on that day. A local acquaintance, Mr. Ayub, dropped by to talk about his recent publications. In that meeting, Ahmed spelled out a blunt message to his friend. It became obvious that Ahmed Deedat's sharp wit and sense of humor hadn't gone anywhere.
1, 2, 3, M-N-O-P. I am still waiting for your book on Antichrist, which you promised over 5 years ago. Answer.
Sheikh, you please try and understand. I know this is the Antichrist is not an easy subject to deal with, but what has happened is that with so much.
As the excuses went on and on, Ahmed had a good hard laugh.
Alhamdulillah, my father in this position is visited by the world.
One of his most memorable visits was when a familiar face showed up and greeted him, this time as a Muslim.
When I decided that I'm going to become a Muslim, I woke up in the morning and I told my wife that I'm going to convert to become a Muslim. And I went to the IPCI to go and see you, to tell you. I thought I was going to break the good news to you. And on that day, when I came at the IPCI, they told me, you were sick and you had been, you are paralyzed. On that day.
Today they watched the video of that first day when Dawood walked into Ahmed's office demanding answers. It's strange for both of them to look back on that day now. Each man lived a completely different life back then. While the peaks in his life appear to be over, Ahmed still looks forward to the day when he is able to move and speak again. He says the first thing he'll do is tour the Arab world once again. In the meantime, his legacy is already moving in the lives of others.
How you got him? I can't get him.
And the IPCI is busy keeping pace with public requests. It receives scores of phone calls, letters, emails and faxes each day.
We are so well known here that even if the people don't write our address, they just write Shaikh Ahmad Deedat Durban or IPCI Durban, it has to reach us.
The IPCI is currently in debt and internal politics have hindered the organization in recent years.
To tell me whether you have a message for me to take.
You have.
1,
yes.
A, B, C, D, E, F. 1, 2, 3, M, N, O, P. 1, 2, G, H, I, J, K, L. Please. 1, 2, 3, M, N, O, P, propagate. 1, A, B, C, D, E, F. 1, 2, 3, M, N, O. That's it. The message is, my dear Muslim brothers and sisters, please propagate for Islam. That's the message. Please propagate for Islam. Please propagate for Islam.
Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Yasin. Yasin. For fuller explanation of its meanings, please consult Abdullah Yusuf Ali's translation and commentary. Wal-Qur'anil Hakim. By the Quran full of wisdom
إنك لمن المرسلين
Thou art indeed one of the messengers
على صراط مستقيم
on a straight way.
تنزيل العزيز الرحيم
It is a revelation sent down by Him, the exalted in might, most merciful.
لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون
In order that thou mayest admonish a people whose fathers had received no admonition, and who therefore remain heedless of the signs of Allah.
لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون
The word is proved true against the greater part of them, for they do not believe.
إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون
We have put yokes round their necks, right up to their chins, so that their heads are forced up and they cannot see.
He walked with a grace that belied his size, this powerful man with a glint in his eyes. In the ring, a study of purpose and skill, a triumph of talent and training and will. A master of arts in the art of defense, a master of building a spell of suspense. Outside of the ring, away from the crowd, a soft-spoken man, part humble, part proud. The boasts and the threats were part of a plan to psych the opponent, not part of the man. The man had the fears that accompany all who go into battle and know they may fall. Yes, fear was the enemy each time to face, and fear the opponent he kept in his place. His courage was tested again and again by those who were deemed to be men amongst men. The worthy opponents who fought toe to toe, who gave not an inch as they'd trade, blow for blow. He met them, he fought them, and then he'd collect that treasure of treasures, the gift of respect. The word and the deed soon became intertwined, the mouth and the fist, the body and the mind, the legend and fact, the image, the truth, the wisdom of age and the sparkle of youth were spread on a canvas for all to behold. Power of steel beneath the glitter of gold. Success, you see, was his constant companion, his friend. It seemed like good fortune was his without end, but even the greatest must face that grim day, the day the decisions stopped falling his way. Champion, the best of the best, found he too was vulnerable, just like the rest. But even when times were exceedingly rough, he never lost heart or cried out, "It's enough." And time came around, and time cleared his name, and time saw him gain even greater acclaim by doing what no other person had done. He fought for his heavyweight crown, and he won. And now, as we gather to praise and to cheer this man, we say for the world that has come to agree, thank Allah. Thank God.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I was born in India, in a village, on the 1st of July, 1918. 1918 I was born. Immediately
a few months later, that's almost immediately, in 1918, the war came to an end. On the 11th of November, at 11 o'clock, 1918, the war came to an end. So my birth was like a blessing, for the world. Then up to the age of 9, I hadn't seen my father, because before I was born, my father had gone to South Africa. I was a little boy. He left me as a little boy. So at the age of 9, he called me. He sent a ticket for me. So for the first time now, I'm going from the village to Bombay, the seaport. And for the first time in my life, I see the sea. And in August 1927, it took us almost 1 month from Bombay to Durban by ship. The ship stops at every place, loading, offloading, next port, loading, offloading. So in August 1927, I reached Durban, South Africa. And for the first time in my life, I started studying. First time in my life, I heard the word A, B, C, D. For the first time in my life, I heard the word yes, no. Before the age of 9, I didn't know the word yes, I didn't know the word no. So I started studying, started going to school, A, B, C, D, in Arabic, G, K, G, and Urdu. I started 4 languages at the same time. Well, it was quite a heavy thing, because just starting all of a sudden. But by the time I reached standard 4, I became the top of my class. Standard 4. The half-yearly exam, I came out first. So they put me in 5. At the end of the year, I had only studied with the standard 5 boys, standard 5 students. I had only studied for 6 months with them. But I beat the lot. They were studying standard 5 for 1 year. I studied for 6 months and I beat the whole lot. I came out first again. I beat them. Then I went to 6, and at the end of the year I passed 6. And I went to college for 3 days. And I had no fees, so they kicked me out. So I started working in country shops. The first place I started work, I was getting £2 10 shillings a month. And when I started getting £5 a month, I wrote to my prospective father-in-law that now I can afford to get married to your daughter, Fatima. But to him it must have been a big joke, because he was a rich man. He was a rich man. However, I started working country shops, till I returned to Durban and started working for a furniture firm. Just when the war started, around 1940, I started working for a furniture firm, Simplex Furniture Factory, in the corner of Alice Street and Grey Street corner. I started working there. I started off as a van driver, and soon I was promoted to become a lorry driver. From that I became a dispatch clerk. From that I became a clerk. I became a salesman. I became a manager of a furniture shop. Then in 1949, me, my wife, and my 2 children, Ibrahim and daughter Ruqayya, we used to call her Gori, we started going to Pakistan. And we lived there for 3 years. We had a very good life there. And we returned to South Africa. And I started working again for the furniture firm and in the furniture trade. And then I started the Islamic Propagation Center. That was in 1957. I started the Islamic Propagation Center and carried on working, and until I reached a stage when I became a public lecturer, talking on religion.
Which year you started your first lecture?
First lecture, I think around 1940. While I was still a driver at the Simplex Furniture Factory, I delivered the lecture in the Avalon Theatre in Victoria Street. I had memorized. I had written a speech and I memorized it, and I delivered the speech. Then the public speaking contest in 1951, 52, 53, around that time. In every contest I participated, I won a trophy. In the first contest, I got trophy number 2, second trophy, second prize. In the second contest, I won the first prize. In the third contest, I won the third prize. I said, no more. That means going backwards now. See? First one I came out second. Second one I came out first. And third one, I came out third. I said, no good. I stopped now. And I started delivering lectures privately, small group of people. And gradually it went on to lecturing in the city hall of Durban, Johannesburg, Cape Town. Then we had some great debates. We had a great debate with the Dutch Reformed Church in which 30,000 people gathered at the Green Point track in Cape Town around the 60s. And since then, going to America, to Britain, having debates with Jimmy Swaggart, one of the giants of Christianity, and with Professor Clark and Professor Simpkins, and on and on and on, alhamdulillah. And today I'm in charge. At the age of 78, I'm in charge of the IPC, Islamic Propagation Center International. I am the life chairman there, life president actually. I'm the life president, and I just returned from a very, very extensive and hectic tour of Australia, in which my granddaughter Nasreen was also with us. And she experienced the type of life that I'm leading. And I'm back home now, and I'm now looking forward to some further appointments. One with the SABC TV on the 8th of May. I'll be programmed there for the program Credo, which will appear on SABC TV.
Here comes 1999. 1996, deedat gets a stroke. 1996, deedat gets a stroke. The telecoms, everything is still running perfect. In a few years down the line, in 1999, deedat is removed by the trustees, not by the court, by the trustees. The trustees removed deedat, not the court. The trustees removed deedat. The court,
He's not still president?
No, he's kicked out.
Well, the trustees, I asked them, they said that Sheikh Ahmed is still president. No.
Right, hold on. Now just ask him. Are they lying? Ask them.
Are they lying, Sheikh?
Yeah, Muslims who are lying to you. They're misleading everyone. They're lying. Deedat is nothing. Deedat got no say in the matter at all.
Our Nabi didn't have exemption, and the Quran, there's an ayah in the Quran. He says the believer should ask for no exemption from turmoil. Or the prophets of God, they went through it. If you are wanting to do Allah's work, there is no exemption. They said, no, Ya Bari Ta'ala, you know my intentions, I have no ulterior motives. So why are you giving this problem for me? No. Allah is telling you that He will test you. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ. He says, most certainly He will test you of something of fear, وَالْجُوعِ and hunger, وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ and the loss of goods, وَالْأَنفُسِ and your life, وَالثَّمَرَاتِ and the fruits of your toil. You work, and you find at the end of it you don't get the fruits, what you expect. All these things Allah says, He will test you. And He says, give glad tidings to those who patiently persevere and who say when they're afflicted with calamity, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun. So verily to Allah we belong, and to Him is our return. So if everything goes, this is His, and He gives it and He takes it, I would be reconciled.
You know the brother Sami, who did the Dubai TV program? His mother wrote to us. Remember we spoke to your mother on the phone? So his mother sent a letter addressed to you. Shaikh Ahmad did it, posted from Dubai. But unfortunately she didn't give a forwarding address, so we can't write to her. So we'll just read the letter out, okay? Yasmin will read the letter out to you, okay?
In the name of Allah, the Merciful, the Compassionate. Dear respected Brother Shaikh Ahmad Deedat and family, Assalamu alaikum. I trust this finds you all in the best of health and high iman. It was the greatest pleasure to receive a telephone call from you in the person of your son Yusuf. I can honestly say I never dreamt I would have the honor of speaking directly with your most noble family. Over the years, I've been so enthralled by your distinguished work through the medium of video that has given me and so many others such inspiration as well as a means of assistance in our dealings with non-Muslims in the society in which we live in the UK. Words cannot express the value of your contribution to Islam, which will stand for all time, inshallah. As I mentioned over the phone, our entire family have felt such a close affinity to you, Sheikh Deedat. You have been and always will be our mentor, guide and hero. We used to watch the tapes together with my late husband. Allah have mercy upon him. And he would jump for joy during the debates as if he felt he was part of it too. Often we would invite English non-Muslims to watch with us, and many were impressed with the truth of your message. It is impossible to estimate how many souls have come to find the reality of Christianity through your work. Only Allah knows. May He bestow upon you limitless reward and blessings. You cannot imagine.
I thought finished.
You cannot imagine my delight when my son Sami told me he was going to meet with you and film a documentary as a tribute to your life and works. When I saw the film for the first time last week, I was brought to tears by the example of your courage and strength and the true nobility and character of your honorable and endearing wife. May Allah keep her safe for you all. It is now my great hope that I will have the opportunity to visit you in Durban in the not too distant future, inshallah. Until that is realized, I leave with you the most sincere good wishes for a peaceful and prosperous Ramadan to you and your noble wife and children. May Allah bestow His infinite bounties upon you. Your sister in Islam, Dina Wallace.
Jazakallah. Jazakallah.
Deedat communicate. He also has a book in which he writes the daily events. Let me ask Yusuf if I can just have a look at it and maybe read some of the stuff that goes on here. Let's go to the 28th of December, which is today. He's talking to somebody at 11:35 a.m. My dear sons, now please note, listeners, it's important for you to know that this communication is done chiefly with the eyelids. It's the movement of the eyelids, and that movement of eyelids is tied up to a grid. So I think Yusuf Dida stands next to him, and obviously of the years he knows exactly what goes on. So this is what has happened at 11:35 a.m. this morning. My dear sons, please arm yourselves with my books and propagate Islam to the non-Muslims. Subhanallah. This is the man, sorry, lying in bed at the age of 85, totally bedridden, but Islam and dawah work is still in his mind. He's got to be great. Then at about 2:30 a.m. I see Brother Salaji. He says that 2:30 p.m. Brother Salaji was the backbone of the IPC of 1957. So what he's doing, I think he's actually communicating. And as I'm talking to you now, he's responding totally and understands fully the communications that I'm having with you. And at the moment he's being emotionally moved by what goes on. And if I'm going to go on with this communication here, I'm going to break down with him. But let me go on, because I seem to be a little bit more braver now. As the thing goes on this page, and this is a book. You used to get, how many books do you have like this?
Over 30.
There's over 30. It's a black hardcover book in which he lists down all his communications that actually goes on. He then says, my dear sister, who is your dear father? Obviously he's talking to somebody. Then he says, dear brothers, please come and tell me if you agree with the answer on the tape, what is the purpose of Hajj? So obviously there's a tape on the purpose of Hajj, and the brothers or sisters that come to see him, sorry, he still communicates with him. Now this has to be amazing, sorry. This is absolutely historic. I can go on and talk to you the whole day, this book. Let me go, because I think this is absolutely amazing. Let me get a date for you. On the 23rd of October 2003, he now talks, dear Mr. Bulbulia, where did you find Mr. Deedat? Tell Ma that the short man was Mr. Ibrahim Deedat from Durban. So Mr. Shaikh Ahmad Deedat communicates and understands fully what goes on. He recognized me, he recognized my program when I was in Iraq, so he is fully comprehended. And I think lots of people, we must still use Shaikh Ahmad Deedat in the propagation of our Islam and bring people here to talk to him and communicate with him and discuss with him, and if they got the guts to try and challenge him.
You have touched the hearts of our listeners, both young and old. Sometimes you made us laugh, and sometimes you made us cry, but your message was always clear: do dawah. Although you will not be on the air, you will still be on the lips of all those who listened to your lectures during the past 2 months. Some say you are too hard in your method, but ask those who came in from darkness into the light of Islam. You were armed with a pen, yet you took the world by storm. You gained the respect of the Middle East, and you earned your heavyweight crown when you took on America's giant, Jimmy Swaggart. You were the king of the stage, the best of the best. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, enough, Mr. Deedat, you have done your best. Now as you rest, your videos and books speak for you. We salute you, Shaikh Deedat. We honor you, Shaikh Deedat. We love you, Shaikh Deedat. Jazakallah.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah, MashaAllah.
We're gonna learn songs, salawat from our album. I think it's from Shukur. Bismillah. Sallallahu ala Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu ala Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu ala Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. طلع البدر علينا من ثنيات الوداع أوجب الشكر علينا يا لعالي الليل صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم أيها المبعوث فينا جئت بالأمر الطائب أنت ورسولنا جميعا يا مجمل الطباع صلى الله على محمد
وسلم